welcome back again to Lex V Designs. Today we're going to be making a senator wear, just the top. Now you can see this senator has a side zip, and I'm also going to show you how you can make this side zip, how you can fix it neatly. This is so simple to make. Okay, so you can see this design. We're going to be making something simpler again, and this design. Okay, let me take this time out to welcome my new subscribers and to my returning subscribers. In fact, I thank you for always coming back for more videos. So let's get right into this video. So to solve this, unfold, I have 4 sides unfold. Look at the way I folded it, this end, and then the other end I folded each of them, and then one side has the 4 openings, or rather the 2 openings, but on one side I have 2 folds. See the way it is. Now what I use to fold this is the chest measurement, the circumference of the chest, and that's what I used to cut out this plus my sewing allowance. So that's what I used. Now I already cut this out. This is the full length. This is the front part of this dress, this top, and then the full length I'm using is the length of 36. Now for the back is going to be 4 inches longer than the front. So at 36 I cut out for the front, and for the back I'm going to just add 4 inches, and that is 36 inches plus 4 will give me 40. So at 40 inches I'll just cut it out. This is for the back. This 40 inches is for the back. So after this I'm just going to go ahead and mark out 4 inches at the top. This side I'm just going to mark out 4 inches. Now look at the side I'm going to be marking this 4 inches, or rather sorry, 3.5. I'll be leaving ½ inch for my sewing. So I'll just mark 3.5 here. Now look at the side I'm marking this 3.5. I'm not marking it at the side that has the double fold. I'm marking it at the side that has 2 openings. So I just marked that 3.5 now. Now at this end I'm just going to be taking my rule to place till I meet the, in fact just watch how I'm going to mark out this now. So I'll just quickly rule with my chalk this way in this slanted form. Don't forget I'm starting at this tip to meet that 3.5, and so when I'm done I'll pull this so that they will now be equal. I hope you get it. When I was done marking that 3.5, I pulled down the length of this clothing so that it becomes the same length at the downside, while this upper side I'm going to fold it just this way. So at this side now I'm going to be marking out my armhole. That's my shoulder rather, please. I'm marking out my shoulder, and my shoulder I used 9 inches, and for my armhole I'm going to use 8.5. Now you saw the way I folded the top part of this cloth. Please fold it by ½ inch. Make sure that the 2 sides are meeting by ½ inch. Okay, so I'm just ruling across. Now I'm going to do the normal armhole ruling that we normally do. You can easily use your armhole curve for this. I'll just curve for the back. This curving now I'm curving is for the back, and for the front I'll measure out my armhole, the armhole round, and then get the midpoint, then come out by ½ inch. Let me do that. Look, I'm getting the midpoint. Now at this midpoint I just came out by ½ inch, and then I'll be connecting these 2 sides just this way, making sure that my armhole curve is coming out by at least ½ inch on that mark that I just on that point I marked, and then I'll just rule across this way. So that's it for the armhole. This is the back armhole and the front armhole. Now for the neck, You can easily cut it the same way, the same way we just cut it out, but there's an easier way for you to cut it out so you don't also have to struggle. Now this is to mark the back neck first, just like I'm marking. I'm using 3 inches. You can use 2.5. It depends on the circumference of the person's neck. Now at that point, just so that I will get the same measurement, for the back neck I'm using 1.5. For the back neck, for the neck depth of the back, I'm using 1.5. Okay, now I'm just ruling across and then closing it up. Now for the front, I will still curve this back neck just right now. Let me just curve it. So I'm just curving, giving it a little curve here, and then I will still do the same thing for the front side. I'm making sure that my line is, we are on the same line. Now I'm going to be using the neck width of 3 inches and the neck depth of 2.5, or let me just use 3, so that I can achieve the circumference of the person's neck. Okay, so I just gave it a little curve, and that's it. You can easily do this with your free hand. You can still use the curve if you want. So I'll just go ahead and cut this out. I'm just cutting out the front and the back neck. Then I'll fold it back this way by 1/2 inch. I'll just fold it, make sure that you're meeting by 1/2 inch. Then I'll go ahead and cut out my armhole. I'll cut out the back armhole first before I cut out the front armhole. Okay, so I'm just cutting out the back armhole. You saw the way I just cut this out. Now I'll just lift up the front part. Don't mistake the front and the back, please. And then I just adjusted the front armhole. Then I went ahead to mark the chest measurement. I added allowance. My allowance, the chest measurement I'm using is 13 inches. I added 2 inches allowance to give me 15. So at 15 I marked. And because for the men's body, they don't really have their body curvy, I just maintain the straight line down to the place where I will be having that slit by the side. Okay, so I'm just ruling down, and I came up for that slit. I came up by 9 inches. So I'm just trying to mark out the 9 inches. I'm just using 9 inches for this because I'll be folding in up when I'm turning it up for the hemming side. That's to hem the downside. Okay, and for this side I just came out by 2 inches. You can even use more, but I just want to add another material there. That's why I just marked it at that point. So, and that's it. This is almost everything. For it's so simple. I don't even know if you find it difficult, but if you find if you stumble on any difficulty while doing this, just let me know. Okay, so I'm just going ahead to mark the armhole, and that's what I just measured out the armhole so that when I'm cutting the sleeve I will know where the measurements to use for my sleeve. Now for this sleeve, I'm just using a free hand to cut out this sleeve. I just went ahead to cut out the sleeve. This is just the basic way of cutting sleeves. I'm just using you can still make it deeper. It depends on what you want. Okay, so I'm just going ahead to know how much allowance I want to have at the sleeve side, how much sleeve measurement I'll be using for this clothes. So I just went ahead to measure it, and then I measured the full length of the sleeve. If you want to have a short sleeve, it's very much it's even simpler. If you want to have a long sleeve, it's still good, and it's quite simple as well. It depends on what you want. Okay, so I'm just using the sleeve length of 22, and that 22 includes my sewing allowance, and it also includes because I'll be attaching a cuffling collar at the ending of the sleeve. I just ended at 22, and that's it. So this is basically all for the sleeve length. I'm just marking out my wrists. This is the point where I mark out my wrist measurement, and this is it. So I'll just be going right away to just cut it out this way, following the lines. I'll just do that quickly. So right now, this is the sleeve, and this is how it looks like. I'll just go ahead and cut out a facing. I'll be cutting out a facing for the front part of this clothes and for the back as well. So to cut out this facing, I'll be using 7 inches for this facing, and this facing is for the front. This one that I'm cutting now, you saw the way I just placed it. I want to ensure I have nothing more than 7 inches for this facing, and this is for the front. I'll just be adding about ½ inch for my sewing allowance. This is for the turning over, something like that. I will show you when we get there. So this is it. I'll just make sure for the back also that I have about 7 inches. It depends on the design you're working with, but for the style I'm working with, I'm just using these 7 inches for the front and for the back. So I'm just going to place it and cut it as I did for the other one. Now see it. Now for the facing also, I will go ahead and use a stay on the both facing. So after I use the facing, the stay on the facing, then I'll go ahead and turn it just the normal way that you do facing of any other clothing, and that's the same thing I'm doing here. So for this shirt, I'm doing it this way, then I also stitch it in by 1 inch here. So let me just do that so that I will show you and then you understand what I'm talking about. So this is the facing I did. I used it to turn. This is the front now. So I'll just fold this inside this way so that I can stitch on it, just inside this way. I'll make it straight, and so this is how I stitched on it. So for the back I did the same thing as well. Now I'm going to go ahead and be turning this out, just this way. You can see it. So for one side I'll be turning it, and for the other side, that's the left hand side, this is where I'll be attaching my zip. Just ensure that when you turn it, look at the way I'm turning it on one side so it comes out neat and fine. At the other side, that is the left hand side, you attach the zip. Now you attach the zip on the left hand side for men, and on the right side you attach the zip for the women, so that you can, now for the men, because that is what we're concentrating on, this zip you're adding at the left hand side is so that they can use their right hand to easily open up the zip. Now see the way I'm attaching the zip. I hope you're watching out for the way I'm attaching the zip. This is so simple to even attach. It's just the normal way that you're attaching your normal zip. So at one side, I'll be attaching this zip, and it's just a short zip. It's a normal, it's a normal zip, but it's an inner zip, invisible zip rather. So when I'm done, I'll be folding in the edges so it doesn't come out. And this is how it looks. So I'll be sewing this. I'll be sewing on this line that I have here on both sides, and then I will show you so you see how it looks. But first, let me turn it so that you can see how it looks now. So this is how it looks. I can easily open the zip. So it's that simple. So after putting the zip, I'll just go ahead and attach the sleeve on both sides. So if you encounter any difficulty, just let me know. This is not a big stress to stress on. So this is just me attaching the sleeve. That's basically all I'm doing here. So right about now, I'll be making the cufflink collar, and this is also very simple to make. I'm just using a according to the wrist of the person. Then I'll be adding about 2 inches allowances on both. That is what I'm using. So you can measure your client's wrist and then add 2 inches. Make sure that you get something straight up like this. This is the simplest way to even make a cufflink collar for anyone, whether for a female or for a male. So this is it. I'm just making sure that I just get something straight and then fold it in, stitch it up. But before then, look at the line that I cut, and I cut it at the back of the sleeve, just in the middle. So I just went ahead and turned it over just with a piece of fabric this way. Then I now produce another 1 inch just to cover it up. I used a stay to attach it to make the cufflink collar firmer before I attached the whole cufflink collar to the remaining clothing. And this is all for this top. So thank you so much for staying tuned. Stay tuned for more videos.